Live and in living color from the Phoenix Area Locksmith Association studios, it's the Locksmith Show. We're your hosts, Andrew from Andrew's Lock and Key, his protege Ryan, and I, Locksmith Charlie, will bring you the latest news and entertainment from the security industry. Everybody in talk radio will tell you the absolute most important thing about talk radio is show prep. So once again, this week, after not having done a minute of it, we're going to do it live on the air with you all.
That's how we always do it.
Hey, it's worked so far. Let's keep it going, right?
Works great.
Why not?
We have lots of fun.
It's loose. It's format free.
I don't run a format.
Yes, format-free radio at the Locksmith Show.
Any interesting jobs this week, Charlie?
Just the one we didn't get to. We are here to answer anyone's questions about locks and keys, safes. Our call-in number is 602-277-KFNX or 277-5369. We're going to talk about any of your security issues, and I would say your insecurities, but I think that's the next hour with the sex therapist.
Yeah. And she's good.
Yes. Very, very good. We'll have to invite her in, or maybe we'll do a dual hour with her one of these months.
Yeah, when I get back.
Which means that Andrew is leaving town for the next 18 weeks or something.
I wish it was 18. Only 3. Going to take a little trip with the children up north. Got a brother who's getting married.
Congratulations to the Macaulay brother.
Yeah.
Was it? Which
Sean,
one?
Well, they never
Sean and Jocelyn.
Sean and
Macaulay.
Jocelyn.
They got married on the first of the year, but a little family
Get together.
Yep.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. And then this week, I may be traveling to Anaheim to the little Southern California get-together the first Tuesday of every month. And then the weekend after that, I'm going to be in Burbank for the Intermountain little trade show thing. So I may or may not be back for Sunday, but we can always call in.
We can always call in, because I'm going to be calling in.
Well, all right then.
And I'll be running the show while he's gone, so
no, anything but that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything's on my shoulders for 3 weeks. Yay!
It's not just his. You got Charlie's number. You got Todd's number.
There's a lot of guys here.
Number. You got anybody I tell you to call's number.
The guy I got Google,
YouTube.
Yeah, we have...
And if everybody wants to come see us on YouTube, you can look up my company, Andrew's Lock and Key, on YouTube, and you can find us, or you can type in the Locksmith Show, and you can also find us there. You can listen to any of our previous podcasts at thelocksmithshow.com.
Absolutely. 24/7, 7 days a week. No muss, no fuss. No salesman will call. In fact, we're not even putting pop-up ads on those yet, are we?
No, we're not. We have no sales guys. We will be having a directory. We're almost ready to roll the local directory on there for us here. So.
Well, good.
As soon as Andrew gets that all finished.
The other Andrew.
It's one of our multiple Andrews.
Yes.
aztechgeeks.com.
AZ Tech Geeks. I think he's actually got his site down right now. But
does he? Let's find out.
Yeah, he can't keep more than one up at a time. So.
No, not at all.
It helps if I spell geeks right.
Geeks. You're not a geek.
No, I'm a geek.
We're lock geeks.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Setup cannot install a required component.
Oh.
So while we're doing this, while we're on the air, Charlie's installing updates and I'm checking website functionality. So
yeah, absolutely.
We're trying to get my mouse to work the way I want it to.
Multitask masters.
So
if we haven't already, if you're listening to the show and you have any lock-related questions, feel free to give us a call, 602-277-KFNX, 5369, or toll-free, 1-866-536-1100. The phone lines are open. We're ready to answer your questions.
I was emailed a story by someone recently about the locksmith in Vegas who encountered squatters and had a gun pulled on him.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun.
No. I'm trying to look up that story right now as well.
Seek and ye shall find.
Exactly. No, it came out of Vegas, I think.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Apparently Vegas has a great deal of problem with squatters, and there was another incident where a property manager tried to run somebody off, and or possibly it was a burglar, and the burglar got shot, and they're calling it a homicide, and the policers are calling it a homicide. They're trying to talk with the persecutors to find out if they're actually going to do anything about it, or if it was justified or what. So should be interesting to see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know why we need to have squatters. I mean, we should be able to provide housing for everybody that needs it.
I don't disagree. But we like to spend money elsewhere in this country and not on the actual people of this country.
You know, like Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm. But my internet is down, so I have no way of getting this. Ryan, can you pull this up?
Yeah,
It's on,
I'm working on it right now. Is it the one you emailed me?
Yes.
Let me log into my email.
Well, how could you let your internet be down?
No, it just seems weird. I think we run on the same IP in here, and it kicks me off when he's on it. Sometimes I'm on and it kicks him off.
Alrighty, so yeah, according to 3 News in Vegas, local locksmith has been they've been encountering armed squatters in their area. Say it's not uncommon. So when was this article written? It looks like it was published on Friday, February 26th. Homicide detectives say a locksmith came to a vacant home on the 4500 block of East Viking Road and found someone inside. He immediately called the police, and shortly after, they were investigating a deadly shooting. The locksmith's name was Rob. I'm going to maybe butcher this. Zaruba. According to Rob, he's been doing this for 25 years and says that this happens at least once to twice a week. So
that he encounters them?
Yeah, he says that he's been encountering these problems once or twice a week.
Vegas has got some problems. I mean, we deal with that. I've dealt with that a few times.
I haven't had to deal with that yet.
Well, we had the one guy that.
Yeah. That was the first job that I did with you in the van. That was it. That was the first official job I did with Andrew's Lock and Key. We got a call to the constable lockout, and we opened the door, and
somebody decided to take their life.
Yes.
Which was not in front of us, thank God, but
we did,
and didn't hurt us in any shape or form.
Yeah, unfortunately, he decided to end his life. He thought that it was the only answer, the only way out, so to speak. So he pulled the trigger. No pun intended. And luckily, we didn't have to witness any of that. We did have to witness the aftermath, which was emotional.
Very emotional with a lot of people.
Some of his family members were there, and.
Well, I can imagine how that is. I used to own some apartments over on Palm Lane, and in one of the units one day, I guess the gal figured she wasn't going to be able to pay the rent or whatever, and I went over and knocked on the door, and there was no answer. Used the key and opened the door, and there she is hanging from the pipe in the middle of the room, and I did a great deal of drinking that night.
Yeah. No, and it's sad when people want to do that type of stuff. They think that's the only way out, and it's never the only way out, in my opinion. So there's lots of other people that can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's all kinds of financial assistance agencies out there. I mean, I know some families out there that have been living on free public housing for the last couple of years, and there's no sign of it changing anytime soon. You can't seem to figure out the necessity of going out and getting a job or actually working for a living. And the sad part is what their children are learning from this, and or what they're not learning.
Oh, and yeah, sorry.
And they know who they are, and they're probably listening. I know Grandpa is. And he's probably laughing his behind off at the moment. Awkward silence there.
Awkward silence.
That was John from
Oh, really?
Anaheim that called in before. He's probably laughing himself silly at me talking about the Chirins over here in Mesa.
So, up.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Oh,
Gotcha.
1 minute. Yeah.
1 minute to break. Gotcha. So after break, let's talk some transponder keys since you're back in town and we haven't really done much of that since we were going to do that last time, Charlie.
What could I possibly say to that other than you better you bet?
Yes. We'll be right back after this break. We're back on the Locksmith Show. My computer's having horrible adware issues right now as well.
And Ryan has just announced
that the internet went down on my laptop. So we're going to really wing it this week with 2 laptops down and not a lot of...
And Charlie's updating.
So 3 laptops down.
Charlie's trying to play something, but of course...
Dun, dun, dun.
So you said you wanted to talk about transponder keys.
There we go.
Everything is late today.
I was motioning before the show. And it should be an every week thing.
And this is why we do it live.
As opposed to Memorex. Memorex is just absolutely canned and no fun, and we get to have a great deal of fun.
Absolutely. And live shows always don't run live.
And of course...
on time.
And of course there is that other thing.
That thing.
Except I can't get the mouse software to download, so...
Well, let's not worry about that right now. Why don't we talk about some locksmith
So let's talk
So when I push the button, it doesn't do...
I'm not aware of too many things. I know what I know if you know what I mean.
So Charlie's laptop has a mind of its own, and
it does what it wants to do.
Does what it wants to do, and so transponder keys, Andrew. You brought that topic up. Why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Okay.
I don't know what you had in mind.
Well, I bit the bullet and bought the 250 tokens last week, so I'm ready and raring to go.
Ready and raring to go.
Now, have you got the Nissan decoder box thing yet?
I do.
And it works.
I do, too.
And it works great. And I also got the Ford one.
I didn't know Ford had one.
Mm-hmm. For the new 20.
Well,
20.
then I
Ford
guess...
and Mazda.
Guess we need a new Ford box, too.
Yeah. But I was also told there's other guys who get them online, other places. You just have to enter the number in. But I just like plugging it in and saying, call it, and then all of a sudden it pops up on that little screen. That was the coolest thing in the world.
You know, if we're going to discuss transponder keys, maybe we ought to just get real and tell the public what all is involved in this.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, there's an outfit out there called Nastiff.
Yes.
In order for a locksmith to come out and make keys for your car, there's a couple of different processes. It can either be rip the car all apart and disassemble the locks and make the key the old-fashioned hard way. Sometimes you can use easy readers or specialized tools and read the locks. But by far the easiest way is to call a code broker or go online and get a key code. I was looking at Nastiff's website the other night thinking, gee, I should sign up for this. And what I discovered is a $75 application fee, a minimum of $300 for the subscription, which is 2 years. And what that gives you is access. And once you have access, you know what happens then?
You get the key codes.
No.
You have to pay for the key code.
Then you get to log into various manufacturers' websites and see what surprises they have for you. Like, for instance, Toyota. You can sign up for 2 days' worth of access from Toyota for $55. Or you can get a year's worth of Toyota for the low, low price of just $1,100.
Well.
And that's just Toyota. Now, that might give you multiple key codes over the year, where as opposed to General Motors codes are going to cost the locksmith, I believe it's $26 plus tax, so it's about $28 each and every time you go online to get a code for a General Motors. So when you add in the cost of the key, the locksmith and the service call and all that, you're looking at least $100 out of the locksmith's pocket just to get started making the key for a General Motors or some of these cars. It's just insane the costs the locksmiths have to go through to get to where they can actually service a customer.
Mm-hmm. And that's why some of your car keys cost X amount of dollars. When you say, why does my car key cost $350? Is because it costs the guy $190 just to get the key started, and he still has to make money as well. So, yeah. And some of that, parts get expensive. I could have used a code the other night on an Infinity that we had that I was having trouble with. But again, it goes back into incurring that cost and then having it to occur back to the customer again, to get that done. And it's not all the time. I'm old school. I'll rip a lock out and do it that way. I'll do it the hard way. Or I have some of the other tools that we can read the wafers inside the lock. And
and there are some cars that are a lot harder or a lot easier than others.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the same model that could be next to each other, and one could go super easy and the other one could be a pain in the butt. So the exact same car.
Yeah, and people, sometimes say, amateurs sometimes say, oh, I'm really good at lock picking, and I'm very, very firmly having the position as what I consider myself to be an expert in the field. Lock picking consists primarily of luck. Either that lock is going to cooperate or it's not.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then ultimately you may have to drill it out, but that's maybe a 1% thing, not a 95% thing like the scammers like to do.
Yeah, no, it's definitely.
How long do you think is an acceptable amount of time to try to pick a lock?
Prior to drilling it?
There was one night I got a call. I got in Mom's old Buick and ran across town because it was going to take less gas than the service truck. The guy had Schlage A-series grade 2 doorknobs and deadbolts all around the house. And I just grabbed my lockout kit and off I went. And I tried every one of those doors, 10, 15 minutes a door, and I wasn't getting any of them open. Finally, I looked in the trunk of Mom's car for something to use for lubricant because I didn't have any in the lockout kit I took with me. I found Cutter's insect repellent, which, of course, is petroleum-based.
Yep.
I squirted some of that in the locks on the front door, had it open in 5 minutes. But I must have spent an hour and a half out there trying to get Mr.'s house open, and trying to drill it was not even in my mind, probably because I didn't take a battery drill with me, but that's a whole other program.
Well, and when you're getting stuck on those, but if you're out there and you're there for 20, 30, 40 minutes, more than anything, I think I would wait until the customer
starts freaking out.
Are you going to get this thing open? Well, yeah, there's other options. I'm trying to keep this the most inexpensive way possible for you.
And the other part of it also depends on what kind of locks it is. Yes. Like a Schlage A lock, it's a really good lock. You're eventually going to be able to pick it.
Yeah.
The Schlage F lock, on the other hand, is a lot more difficult to pick, and while there are a couple of bypass methods out there that you can use if you become proficient in them, oftentimes drilling an F-lock cylinder might be, and just throwing in a new cylinder might be better than trying to spend a half a day picking it.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you
got to look at.
I wouldn't say if you're trying to pick a lock for 8.7 minutes and unsuccessful that you should jump right to drilling. I think there's other alternatives. In fact, there was one house I went to in Atherton, California, up in the hills above Menlo Park, where they had misplaced the key to their wine room. And while I did think briefly about drilling it, I said to myself, I might miss I might nick their pretty little polished chrome Schlage doorknob, and I didn't have any spare polished chrome knobs on the truck. And so I pulled out a key blank and my vice grips, and first time ever I impressioned a key to a Schlage A-lock using one key blank.
Oh, wow.
Impressed the hell out of myself when I was maybe a year into the trade. So there's a lot of methods other than picking or drilling. There's always a different way. And like we had a lockout a couple days ago out at a dentist's office. They locked the key in the interior office. Well, under the door tool to hit the lever worked really good for that. Mm-hmm. No picking, no drilling, no nothing.
Nope.
Minute and a half, we're in.
Yeah.
Or is it a minute and a half, we're out? Something like that.
1 minute to break. Just like it is getting 1 minute into that door.
Yeah.
No, but it's at the end of the day, Ryan, I think it really boils down to how the customer's feeling if they're needing to get in quickly because they have somewhere to be and they're willing to incur the cost because it won't pick easily.
Or if they really have to go.
Or, yeah. I used to do that. I'm not going to say the company, but we used to have to, if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to pick into the door. So the longer you waited,
the harder it was.
The harder it was, because you'd be doing the little dance trying to get into the door, and that was in the beginning years of locksmithing. So it was really funny watching guys, oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom.
And nobody figured out, let's impression a key and cheat for next time. Back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. Almost called it by its old name there for a minute. Popular Mechanics reports that your home security system may be utterly useless against hackers. Are you one of 200,000 people protecting your home with Simply Safe? Says on here, you should probably stop. I thought we were going to talk to them about maybe sponsoring their stuff, but
why should we stop?
Well, if they're going to be vulnerable to hackers, is that something we'd want to promote?
No,
not really
necessarily.
We'd better have a chat with them.
Yeah, but anything that is out written in code is eligible to be hacked.
Well, only if you let it be. For instance, I've heard all this about cars being able to be accelerated or braked or whatever by remote control. But if they just let the operator of the system turn off the Bluetooth while the car is, or the Wi-Fi, whatever it is, while the car is running, then that wouldn't be a problem, would it?
Well, technically. But again, is an on switch is just a switch. So if it's set there to be turned on or off, just like your phone, the whole thing with Apple,
well, let's
saying
take
they
your
don't
laptop.
want to build. Mm-hmm.
There's a button on the side of your laptop to turn the Wi-Fi off. Now, are you telling me that Ryan over there could wave his magic screwdriver around and undo the position of that button and get your Wi-Fi turned back on remotely?
Not necessarily. But if the car's only meant to be a code to turn it on and off. Now, if you're having a whole light switch to turn it on and off, or you actually make a break in the line.
Well, that's what I'd be thinking.
But anything these days, it's the whole thing with Xbox and their Connect and everything else.
Of course, the car engineers don't think the way I do.
No.
Nobody else does either.
No. And then Apple, the whole thing with Apple not giving up the information off the San Bernardino shooters' phones, because of reasons saying they don't want to make it vulnerable to it. It's already been done. They just don't want to give out the information.
What makes you think so?
Because it's a line of code. Anything code can be hacked. Anything.
Well, I understand that. Mm-hmm. But what makes you think that somebody has written a hack to bypass Apple's encryption
because people would love to be able to do that. Google pays people to hack their stuff all the time. If you hack our stuff, you get paid. So
maybe we should get to hacking then.
Well,
No, what I'm saying, do you think that Apple should go ahead and let the government into the
I don't think they're going to find
or
anything.
Other iPhones?
I think if a court order came out, then yes,
which
and
is
no.
being
But I'm
appealed.
saying is being appealed. But I'm saying if it goes to the Supreme Court, it's a touchy subject, because I don't want the government in my stuff, period. But they already do it now, so there's a fine line, and I don't know where you draw the line. So on that stand, I believe what Tim Cook says. Do I think the information needs to be given out? Yeah, but I don't think there's anything they're going to find. So at all, and I think it's just a big flu, and Apple's using it as publicity.
Well,
I
think if the powers that be over there in San Bernardino have tried already to break into this phone has probably already been bricked or wiped or whatever it does.
If it's been more than 10 times, I think is what the limit is.
And they may not have anything in the phone to get.
But the other thing is you have to turn that on, and they don't know if they turned it on. That's there.
But the other part is if Apple has written an
it's not going to be
algorithm to encrypt everything on the phone, and if there is not like a public key code or a private code that Apple knows, I mean, the encryption algorithm could be the key to the algorithm could be the date, time, second, and GPS location of whenever that phone was first activated, and that key may not be known to Apple. And if that key is internal to the phone and Apple doesn't even know it, then they would have to do a great deal of engineering to figure out a bypass to get around that. I think it's a great deal of engineering that, A, they don't want to do, and B, if they did do it, then that would leave every phone vulnerable, and that's why they don't want to do it.
Well, they don't want to do it because they don't want to give that out. They don't want to let people know that because for such a long time they've been saying that. Bill Gates did a speech about it the other day himself. He was asked about it, and he said, it's already been done. If they want it, they have it. Apple already has it. It's silly to think that they don't. And that came from Bill Gates' mouth. So he says it's just a whole big publicity stunt. And they'll get the information when it boils down to it.
Yeah, and people that are extreme privacy lovers may continue to buy Apple stuff, and people like our county attorney Bill Montgomery might decide to boycott Apple stuff because they're not cooperating with law enforcement.
That's what he said already they're going to do. And that, it's just a big hoo-ah of all these, all these big public officials now, and I think there's going to be other ones. There's a big story about that locally that he thinks there's going to be other followers with that. But, I think it's all silly just to say that you don't want to use an Apple product. Now I'm going to go to Android and, okay, well, Android's owned by Google. So what does Google say about it? Same thing. So.
And his laptop
it's always late. It's got like a 5 millisecond delay. Yeah, got that 5 second delay.
Well, at least I'm trying to throw a little entertainment in here.
But no, again, it goes down to how you feel about it. I'm not all for everybody listening on everything I do. I'm not for any of that. Unless I'm sitting here in front of the radio and telling everybody what I want to tell them. Do I think people need to go out and hack phones and do that? No, I don't.
Do you think people should hack Hillary's emails?
I think they already
Absolutely.
did. They already did. Just like they hack everything else. You think you put your stuff up on the cloud and it's safe. It's not safe. And the other thing is you don't own it. Read the terms and conditions. You don't own it. So you go type a whole book up there on Google. You don't own it.
Well, that's why I don't put stuff up on Google.
Well, not even Google. Apple's cloud, Amazon's cloud.
I don't use any of their clouds.
Well, that's where we're going.
It's not where I'm going.
No. Well, in 50 years, are you still going to be here?
I have my own cloud. I've got a server at my house. I want to put something on the cloud, it's on my server.
Well, it's on your server.
Yeah.
I could still get into your server.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But if we worked long enough and hard enough, you get into the server. And
yeah,
that's the new age locksmith.
I mean, if you put a cray out there trying to hack into my password, it might take it, I don't know, 30 seconds or so.
Well, and again, it goes back to the safe sense of security. You know, is it real or is it not real?
Well, I think the only security you really have is what you carry around in your holster.
Yeah, and that's why we live in Arizona.
Clearly.
I found out you couldn't buy spray paint in Chicago the other day.
Why?
I don't know. Probably because I have a lot of graffiti up there. But
well,
my
I have a
brother
lot of
who's getting
graffiti
married,
everywhere, but
you know.
Is it because of graffiti or is it because of all the huffers and the plastic bags and
I would hope not. But I thought that was a little weird. We run around with guns down here, but you can't buy spray paint in Chicago. You know. That's why we live in the Wild Wild West.
Yes, you can buy spray paint, carburetor cleaner, battery acid.
Yeah. Well, we do have Sheriff Joe, who we love very much. Not really.
And who may or may not be, we'll not go there.
Sheriff Joe, if you're listening, please call in 602-277-5369.
Or even better, if anybody from Kirsten and the gang, or McCain and the gang, or Kyle and the gang want to call up and talk about the Communications Decency Act, the modification of the Telecommunications Act, or any of those issues, we'd like very much to talk about them and get your position. Or even any of the candidates. Mr. Molosky, only been trying to talk to you for months now. Would you possibly care to comment on the Communications Decency Act and the Telecommunications Act? And would you sponsor some legislation to help us out here? Pretty please?
Well, you know,
give us a call.
The whole thing with the scammers, you know, I think there's ways around it. I think I found out what they've done. And I'll tell you in 6 months if it worked. So it just takes some time.
Well, I think, did I tell you the story about what I heard occurred down in Levine?
No. Well, I think we've talked a little bit about it, but.
Okay. How long we got? All right. In just about a minute, we're going to go on break. And if there's a locksmith scammer that had a bad experience down in Levine and would like to talk about it, or if any customers involved in a scammer incident in Levine might want to call in and talk about it, we might have to dedicate this whole next segment to that, because this is going to be a fun story. In the meantime, we're going to run off to another commercial break and some very, very important announcements. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show, where I'm going to tell a story that I heard. Now, journalists are supposed to hear or get their material from at least two sources that they can verify. Well, I've gotten the material from two sources. I don't know that I can verify it because it all seems to be hearsay, but what I've heard was ma'am called out a locksmith because she had locked the keys in the car. The locksmith, so-called locksmith, came out, got the car open. Ma'am grabs her keys and very politely says, "Thank you. Here's your $14. And the so-called locksmith says, "Well, no, You don't understand. It's $290. Ma'am says, well, I'm not going to pay that. That's crazy. Then the so-called locksmith decides the best possible course of action is to pry the keys out of ma'am's hands. Well, from what I understand, the police would not do anything about this. Now, I have put in a call to the Phoenix Police Department's Public Affairs Office to see if they can identify an incident and what may have occurred. I haven't heard back from them, and if I do, we'll bring that up on a future date. But what I did hear is ma'am's son called this so-called locksmith back and says, hey, you know what? Why don't you come back out, bring the keys back? You know, we've got all your money here. We're going to give you an extra $30-40 for having to make another trip. And so the guy comes out, hands the son the keys. Son puts the keys into the pocket. Son holds up the money and says, see the money? And places the money into his pocket. The so-called locksmith says, but that's my money. To which son replies, well, you put hands on my mom. And so son commences to put a beating on the so-called locksmith. Well, one of his buddies goes and enters the car and takes all the paperwork relative to the transaction. And I think that's what they call Arizona justice or something.
Well, rightfully so.
Yeah. So, if you're a scammer and you're going to rip people off, and you should become accustomed to having a beating put on you by unsatisfied customers.
Yeah, well, resorting to violence isn't always the right thing to do. I would never rip keys out of somebody's hand.
Well, yeah, as I understand the law, forcefully taking someone away from somebody, or even when I was in training to be a security guard and learn powers of arrest and stuff, I was told that if somebody is lying on the sidewalk with money in their shirt pocket, if you do nothing but pluck the money out of the shirt pocket, that is felonious strong-arm robbery. Prying somebody's hands open certainly is a battery, if nothing else, and
cut somebody's hand. I mean, that.
Yeah, taking property away from them by force, that seems to me to be robbery. And why the police would not do something about an aggravated felony is beyond my comprehension. So,
well, maybe it boils down to there was no proof because they took the paperwork.
Well, that's a day or two later.
Oh.
But when they came, if they came out when this occurred, the proof would be that the so-called locksmith had the lady's keys.
Well, then if the cops came out, they would make the guy give the keys back to her.
Well, apparently the cops did nothing. Is what I'm told.
Gotcha.
So that's why the day or two later occurrence happened.
Oh, I had to deal with some officers before, and I had to give the keys to the customer when they didn't pay me.
Did you tell them it's a civil matter?
Oh, that's what the cop told me. And it doesn't matter.
Well, possession of the keys is a civil matter.
Yes, I know. But the cop, I was in possession of the keys to their vehicle.
Uh-huh.
So it was not.
And you had a lien on the vehicle at that time. And so was your lien on the vehicle?
We can call the city of Mesa. I mean, this happened about 9 years ago when I worked at another lock company.
Thinking the statute of limitations might have expired.
Yeah, we could always ask them why. But yeah, it was a big fluke, and the owner of the company was not happy with the city of Mesa Police Department. He called them. So, yeah, it was.
Did he use any choice words?
I'm sure he did.
Would you care to repeat them?
Oh, I don't know if we could do that on there. That we might be muted for the 30-second mute, I think. Something like that. But yeah.
The red button.
The red button. Not the red light, but the red button. Don't make him... See.
Our producer's threatening to use the red button right now.
He doesn't want to use the dumb button.
From now on, he's going to be hovering over that button. He's just going to be
two-handed over it. Which one? Which one is it? So.
Well, I know which one it is because they showed me before.
Yeah, it's that dump button. Then it just plays Charlie Brown music afterwards.
Or Edie Brickell.
Yeah.
Something like that.
30 seconds late.
And is it going to play? No.
No. I'm not poking on that one. Restart your computer to finish installing important updates. No, we'll postpone that for 4 hours, I guess.
Oh, is that what happened last time? You postponed it till Sunday at 11?
Yeah, clearly. Well, this show is the only thing I use this laptop for, and so I add a little music to it once in a while, but oftentimes it doesn't get turned on between shows. Which gotcha. We did some show prep.
We did some show prep. I'll be gone for 3 weeks. We can talk on the phone. We're so busy. You got your stuff. You run your company. I run 2 companies, and we just never have any time to meet up other than Sunday at 11.
So, the commercial, a couple of moments before we came back on the air, was talking about, among other things, safe combinations can be lost. Well, if that happens to you, you're cordially invited to call Locksmith Charlie to come out and open your safe for you at 602-717-5397. Do you do safe opening and stuff too?
I do safe openings, yes.
Well, then...
my phone number is 480-437-4022, and that's Andrew's Lock and Key.
Very good.
And my computer just let the antivirus update finally, too. So great how we can get our computers updated during our show, just not run our computers during the show the way that we need them.
Mine is still running. Well, it's just the internet's up and down.
We'll let Ryan's computer run.
Well, next week we'll bring an extra internet cord so Ryan doesn't have to worry about
Ryan
wireless.
Can sit here next week because you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
I'll be on the glorious phone.
He'll be on the road.
Maybe I'll be staring at.
But the wireless here is so unreliable. There's no sense in trying to.
Yeah. I might be looking at George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abe Lincoln at that moment too. Might be having a conversation with those guys.
In Western Dakota territory?
Western Dakota.
If you have a conversation with those guys,
that saddens me because it's going to be just the wrong time of the year.
Oh, I know. We're just going to make the run anyway.
If it was the correct time of the year, you could go about 2 or 3 or maybe 5 miles down the road. There's a place called Reptile Gardens. Mm-hmm. And they have some 1,000-year-old tortoises there that I rode around on when I was a child.
Me too. We'll be in the Badlands. We'll be all over good old state of South Dakota. And then I think we'll end over at the coast. We'll be coming down to PCH at some point.
Well, now, are you going to make a customary stop at Wall Drug and put in $0.25 or $1 to get the Mechanical Cowboys to sing and dance for you?
Yes, Wall Drug. They have no idea what's coming for them. So
the whole Macaulay clan.
Yep, the 3 of us driving up north in little black Lexi.
We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen, on The Locksmith Show.
Don't forget our podcast on thelocksmithshow.com.
Thank you very much, and everybody, you guys have a great Sunday.
No matter how well you plan, no matter how careful you try to be, emergencies happen. Like when the car doors slam shut at the precise moment you realize your keys are still in the ignition. The baby's firmly secured in the car seat in the back. And now you really need a locksmith. How will you know you're calling a professional you can trust? Did you know that over half the locksmiths advertised in your local phone books are not qualified professionals? A qualified locksmith will arrive at the site in a clearly marked service vehicle. He will ask for your ID and proof that you're the legal owner of the home or vehicle. Always insist on a written price quote before work is begun. Don't place your home, your car, or your family in the hands of unscrupulous strangers. Go to findalocksmith.com, choose a qualified member of the Associated Locksmiths of America, and save the information. There'll be times when you'll be glad you did. Associated Locksmiths of America. Locksmiths you can trust.
Hey guys, if you like my YouTube channel, please subscribe below. It's over here. I don't know. It's somewhere, anywhere. It's wherever they like to put it. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, tell your friends, share my videos. If you have any questions, email me, andrewslockandkeyaz@gmail.com, or don't hesitate to pick up the phone. I answer my phone all the time. 480-437-4022. Thank you, and have a great day.